So today we're at the Aboriginal Co-Design Forum here in Preston. The focus of today's conversation was working with people who use violence, but actually looking at it as a whole of family approach. We got to meet a couple of panel members who have been working in the field for quite a long time and was able to share with us some of their learnings, but also how we in the Aboriginal community do things a bit differently to engage with people who use family violence, but also with that cultural lens of how to work with the family and the individual around healing and trauma. What I feel was a success for today was actually everyone's openness and willingness to share their insights and their learnings, but also how we come together collectively as Aboriginal government workers, community members and non-Aboriginal members coming together, all looking to the same goal, and that is improving how we work with people who use violence, looking at accountability, looking at ways that we can heal people in addressing their trauma. This is the first co-design forum that we've actually focused on people who use violence.
If Aboriginal people have a voice, lead the change that we need to see happen in our communities, we will see the change. I think that's one of the most important messages that I can say. The stuff around self-determination, absolutely, giving us a voice to address our issues as we see them and prioritise them as we see them and be supported by all sectors to help work with us to address them is something that is really powerful, and I think in the interests of government, but especially in the interests of us as Aboriginal people.
I think the idea of bringing together healing and accountability for people who use violence was really important, and came out really strongly the idea that we won't solve the problems and the challenges that victim survivors experience in their experience of violence if we look only to isolate perpetrators.
Well, the more information I get from these sorts of conversations, the more it empowers me to have those conversations, especially with government, and the importance of us taking control of our lives.
And one of the big issues about that is that we actually don't see a more holistic response to family violence in Aboriginal communities, and that's about understanding that the response needs to be more focused on putting the interventions in place, so whilst the person is absent from the family and the family member, the victim and the children are safe, we actually realise that we actually have to have a more holistic response to make sure that agencies are involved and help that family moving forward.
Family violence has such a huge impact on the majority of our families, not saying all of them. The ones we're currently working with, the tenants we're currently working with, there would be at least 90% of them that have been affected by family violence, either now or in the past. So it's a real concern, and it's really, for us, it's about looking at that holistic approach and helping the whole family to get through that and take some steps to break that cycle. We need to help break that cycle and help support our young people now, as well as the men and the women. I think as a whole unit it would work better that way.
Just be able to listen to everyone, talk about the issues that they face, around L17s, the engagement, is there a cultural aspect to mainstream services dealing with Aboriginal men and women around healing.
My message is let the Aboriginal community and Aboriginal people lead this process, and as they say, good leadership support from behind, and I think it's important that the Aboriginal community take the ownership and lead in this work.